where we talk about various courses as well as future PR pathways. Today's topic is teaching courses and their future pathways in Australia. And we're joined by two of our experts in Perth. Speaking about education, we have Ms. Kiranbir Kaur, who is a certified course advisor and is an expert in teaching careers and is highly proficient in helping students take up teaching and education related courses. And she has helped innumerable students to understand and meet entry requirements for teaching. And she's also been able to place them at various regional as well as metropolitan universities. So if you have any questions related to education and teaching, do feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And for your migration needs, we're joined by Ms. Preeti Puri, who's also based in Aussizz Group Perth. And she has over 12 years of experience with general skill migration as well as with skill assessment applications. She's an expert with employer-sponsored visas as well as AAT and MRT visa refusals. And she's got an impressive visa grant success rate and has managed to create a good name for herself in the migration industry. She's one of the most sought after migration agents in Perth. And yeah, please feel free to ask her everything about your migration related needs. Now we'll get into the education part, which is then going to be followed by migration. So over to you, Kiran.
Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. As Riddhi told that I'm Kiranbir Kaur from Aussizz Group Perth, and I'm an education consultant in Perth office. So today we are going to talk about different teaching courses and PR pathways available in Australia. So I'll be taking care of education part. So after discussing all the courses and all the entry requirements for these courses, Preeti will be talking about the PR pathways. So we'll start with the teaching courses available in Australia. First, we'll start with sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen. Yeah. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. So today we are going to talk about teaching courses. Are you considering becoming an early childhood secondary teacher or a primary teacher? So if you want to become a teacher, today's session is going to cover all the topics related to teaching, all the entry requirements, all other requirements to enroll in different universities available in Australia. These courses are available in different courses across Australia. So if you're looking for any sort of teaching courses in whatever state you are living in, you can contact us to discuss about the entry requirements and everything. So talking about the introduction about the teaching is a challenging but incredibly rewarding profession. So if you talk about teaching, who is a teacher? Let's talk about this thing. Who is a teacher? Teacher is someone who teaches us very good things in any state of our life. Starting from our early childhood, we come across so many teachers who gives us valuable things, starting from our early childhood, kindergarten, then moving to primary and secondary. So we learn lots of things from our teachers. So that is why it is a very rewarding career. Teaching is all about shaping the future of a country. So they are more valuable in the community than they think. So I think there is a very good saying that country who values their teachers, it values their upcoming community and upcoming people. So if country is valuing its teachers, they are shaping a very good people in their community. So value of a teacher. Teaching and education is one of the most sought after courses in Australia. A country that fails to value its teachers fails to value its future. So as I was said, teaching career is a very valuable profession in Australia, and I think across all over the world. So we are going to have a glimpse of teaching courses available for international students. Types of courses, learning outcomes, and job duties we are going to talk about in this slide. So there are different kinds of teaching courses available. Early childhood teaching. Early childhood or pre-primary school teachers teach the basics of numeracy, literacy, music, art, literature to early childhood primary students. Talking about primary teaching, primary school teachers teach a range of subjects within a prescribed curriculum to primary school students and promote students' social, emotional, intellectual, and physical development. Talking about secondary teaching, secondary school teachers teach one or more subjects within a prescribed curriculum to secondary school students and promote students' social, emotional, intellectual, and physical development. There are different kinds of courses available, starting from diploma level, bachelor's, graduate diploma, and master level courses. So talking about the entry requirements, so if we talk about diploma's entry requirement, diploma of early childhood education and care. So only in early education, childhood education and care, diploma is available. Other in primary and secondary, there is no diploma available over here. So there is a minimum English language requirement, that is IELTS 5.5 or equivalent to this test. Academic requirements is completion of Australian year 12 or equivalent. Minimum age should be 18 years to start this course. And there are few colleges who ask for literature and numeracy test. So it depends upon college to college. So the entry requirements may vary from college to college for diploma. Talking about the entry requirements for bachelor's of education, early childhood, primary and secondary courses. So the entry requirements for bachelor's, it varies from university or colleges. Minimum entry requirement is overall 6.5 bands with no band less than 6. But in few universities, they require 7.5 overall with no band less than 7 in reading and writing and 8 in listening and speaking. So it depends upon the university to university what kind of minimum entry requirement for English is. Talking about the academic requirements, completion of Australian year 12 and equivalent will go. Some universities require Casper, language literacy and numeracy test, and Lenti test required. This one is required. So if someone is looking off to waive off the English, exceptions may apply, which is you should have studied 5 years of English education in English-speaking countries. So if you have studied 5 years in Australia, so this English requirement could be waived off. So common entry requirements for graduate diploma of early childhood. So minimum entry requirement is completion of Australian bachelor degree or equivalent in any field will do. English requirements for graduate diploma of early childhood is overall 7 with listening 7.5, reading 6.5, writing 6.5, speaking 7.5. So as you can see that there is a bit variation in English requirement from diploma, bachelor's to graduate diploma. To waive off English, exceptions may apply. You should have studied in English-speaking countries or 5 years of Australian qualification can waive off this requirement. Next course level is master level courses. So talking about master of teaching, early childhood, primary and secondary teacher is available in master's level course. English requirements are different in every university or colleges, as I discussed before. General English requirement is listening and reading 8. So listening and speaking 8, reading and writing 7, and overall 7.5. Academic requirement, bachelor's in any related discipline will do, but some people having IT background, sometimes they do not meet the entry requirements. So as I discussed that any kind of bachelor's will do, but then there are few exceptions which universities they do not accept. So, but you should have studied 1 or 2 of these 6 curriculum subjects in your bachelor's. So which is you should have studied English or health and physical education, humanities and social science, mathematics, science. So in science, there are physics, chemistry, biology, human biology, psychology, earth and environmental science, or arts. So out of these 6 subjects, you should have studied 1 or 2 of these subjects in your bachelor's. Then we can enroll you in any of these masters if you want to study masters in secondary teaching. Entry requirement is Casper test and LLM, but it depends upon university to university. Few universities, they do ask for Casper test. Few universities, they do not. Also, you have to submit a statement stating teaching capability statement. So in which you have to write, why do you want to study teaching course? what are the career outcomes for studying teaching course. So if you submit these statement, it is from one or two pages you can write. And if we satisfy to the university that why you want to study teaching course, then it will be easy for you to get the admission in teaching course. Waive of English is same. If you have studied in English speaking country for 5 years, then the English requirement of 7.5 overall will be waived off. Okay, so talking about popular universities who are offering these teaching courses. So there are a number of universities in Australia who are offering these courses. So starting from Charles Darwin University, Swinburne University, Southern Cross Education Institute, Flinders University, Murdoch University, Edith Cowan University, Curtin, University of Western Australia, Victoria University, RMIT, and many more. So these are the few which I have written over here, but then there are other few more universities who are offering the courses in their campuses. If we talk about the sorry, the scholarship, few universities they offer scholarship, few they do not. So few of them which I've listed in my slide is Swinburne University, which offers up to 25%. Depends upon weighted average marks you have got. Charles Darwin University is up to 50%, but depends. Flinders University is 20%, that is, they have go beyond scholarship. Murdoch University offers 20% scholarship, and Victoria University also offers 20% scholarship. There are a few other scholarships which are also available. It depends upon university to university, and it depends upon your percentage as well. Talking about the approximate annual fee for these courses. So starting from diploma, it varies from 16,000 approximately. So Swinburne University, which is having 16,800 approximately a year. SCEI Institute, they offers this course for 15,500 approximately. Lead College, which is approximately 14,000. So please bear this thing in mind that this is the annual fees, not the full course duration fees. Bachelor's degree, Bachelor's of Teaching in Swinburne University, it is $27,560 approximately. Icon Institute is 9,000. SCEI is 18,000. Charles Darwin University, $26,712 approximately. And Murdoch University, who is offering this course in $30,000. After the scholarship, this fees will come down, but this fees is before scholarship. Graduate diploma, which is available in Southern Cross University Gold Coast campus, that is $26,800 approximately. Victoria University, which is offering this course in $27,000, and RMIT University is offering this course in $30,000 approximately. Talking about the fees for master courses, Charles Darwin University is offering this course $28,014 a year. Swinburne University is offering this course in $27,560. ACU, Australian Catholic University, is offering this course for 1 year in $24,100. Flinders University is offering this course in $33,000, and Murdoch University, same, $30,000. Okay, so as we have discussed about the entry requirements and fee structure for the teaching courses, now it comes career opportunities and possible job outcomes after completing your teaching course. So different kinds of career opportunities after doing teaching courses are early childhood educator, pre-primary school teacher, primary school teacher, secondary school teacher, children's services coordinator, family daycare coordinator, playground coordinator, and childcare center manager. So these are the few job outcomes which I have listed over here for you all. Okay, so talking about the average weekly salary in teaching profession. So if you have studied early childhood teaching, you will be eligible to earn approximately $1,400 to $1,500 weekly. Primary school teacher is $1,700 to $1,800 weekly. Secondary school teacher is $1,900 to $2,000 weekly. And childcare center manager is $1,200 to $1,300 per week, which is a very good salary package after doing this teaching course. Talking about the industry projection in next 5 years, future growth is very strong in this profession. Employment level for early childhood educators will increase to 22.1% by 2023. 4% projected growth in childcare industry will be there. Secondary school teachers' demand will increase by 7.1% by 2023. So as you can see that there is going to be a very rewarding career after studying this course. If we talk about in the next 5 years, also there is a very good growth in this profession. Talking about the statewide employment skills shortage. Currently, if we talk about the skills shortage, there is a skills shortage for teachers. So talking about in statewide, talking about early childhood teachers, projected job growth by 2023. So in New South Wales, it is 35.2%. Going down to Victoria, which is 24.1%. Queensland is 16.5%. WA comes down to be 10.8%. So South Australia, 8.7%. ACT is 1.8%, and Northern Territory is 0.9%. So projected growth in particular industry, which is early childhood teaching. So the main industries in which we can see that there will be a growth, definitely it's in education and training. Coming down, then there is healthcare and social assistance by 24%, public administration and safety, administrative and support services, and other services are very few. But definitely early childhood in education and training, there is going to be a very good growth by 70%. So talking about the employment skill shortage for secondary school teachers projected by 2023. So New South Wales is on top, 33.5%. Victoria is 26.4%. Queensland, 19%. WA, 10.2%. Talking about South Australia, it is 6.3%. Tasmania, 2.2%, followed by NT, 0.7%. So there is also going skill shortage for secondary school teachers by 2023. Projected growth for secondary teachers, definitely it is going to be in the education and training, more than 90%. Rest other industries, public administration and safety, other services, it is very less, but then there is definitely going to be a growth in education and training sector. Okay, so that was all about teaching courses, available courses in WA and in other Australian states, their entry requirements, academic and English requirements. So now I would like to hand over to Preeti, our registered migration agent, who is going to talk about the skill assessment for teaching courses. Over to you, Preeti. I'll stop my screen.
All right. Thank you, Kiran. Let me just share my screen for this. All right. Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much. It was really informative. And I hope our viewers have also got the similar information. Now, I will be talking about the migration pathways for if anyone who has done the teaching courses. As an introduction, I'm a registered migration agent. I'm from the Perth office. And today's topic is about PR pathways for teaching courses. The first thing is about let's say that you guys have completed your studies in teaching, and then to apply for any permanent residency, the most important thing is how to get the skills assessment. So for the skills assessment for the teachers, there are a couple of things that's required. The one of the most important thing is that you do not need to have any kind of an experience to get the skills assessment as a teacher. The minimum requirement is that you must be under 45 years of age, have at least studied for 2 years of teaching courses, have got 65 points, and have got a full skills assessment. So I'll be talking about how to get that skills assessment. Okay. The assessment body for the teaching is AITSL. Okay, there are 3 nominated occupations for which you can get the skills assessment, and the requirement is exactly the same. That's for early childhood, that's for primary school, and for a secondary school teacher. Now, how to differentiate that which nominated occupation is yours depends upon when you are studying your teaching degree, what kind of specialization have you got into? Because when you're taking a master's of teaching, it will be masters of teaching in early childhood or secondary or primary, and then accordingly, that's your study. Whatever you have studied into, that is the one you will be nominated your occupation for. The most important requirement for this one is 2 years of a study that you have done, and you have got to have an English requirement and only the IELTS academic. AITSL does not accept any other English score, which is PTE, CAE, or any other ones. Your minimum requirement for reading and writing is 7, and listening and speaking is 8. There is also an exemption to get a skills assessment, and that is if you have studied at least 4 years of a full-time study in Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, US, and UK. In any of these countries, if you have done higher education, which is either the bachelor's or the master's or a combination of both, then you are exempted. For example, if somebody has come here to do the MBA and completed the MBA, and after that does 2 years of a teaching degree, then that equates to 4 years of the study requirement. Then you do not need to sit for an English test or meet the English requirement. You are exempted for that one. Another requirement for AITSL skills assessment is evidence of supervised teaching practice. Now, what is this supervised teaching practice is that when you were studying, whether it was at bachelor's degree, whether it was at master's degree, whether you have studied back home or whether you have studied here in Australia, you must have done 45 days of supervised training while enrolled in the course. This is the part of the requirement of your course. Once you were studying this course, and you have to undergo the supervised training. Few universities does it for 30 days, few does it for 40 days, few does it for 45 or 60, and so. Any university doing the supervised training for less than 45 days is not an eligible course, and then you are not eligible to get your skills assessment. The supervised training letter needs to come through the university, not through the college. So whatever university you have enrolled for and studied from, you need to get the supervised training certificate, which must mention about the dates of the training that you have undertaken, the name of the school, the age of the students which you have taught, along with your number of hours or the days that you have undertaken. It needs to be minimum 45. Anything below the 45 days of supervised training is not acceptable by AITSL. Then the recent graduates from Australian universities, because it takes a while to get your master's degree certificate, an official statement of the academic transcript along with the completion letter is enough. You do not have to wait for your graduation to apply for the degree certificate and then apply for the skills assessment. You can apply without that also. Okay, now what are these 3 different occupations? The secondary and early childhood is in a long-term list, which means you are eligible to apply for a graduate visa from a short-term list if you are for a postgraduate or the graduate stream also. And the secondary school teacher and early childhood are in the long-term list. If we talk about the primary school teachers, they are not in the long-term list, which means if you have studied that one and you need to apply under the graduate stream, then you are not eligible because it's only under the short-term list. Once we have got a skills assessment, then it is the requirement that you need to meet the state eligibility. This primary school teacher or early childhood teacher is, if you could see on the screen, it is available, and most of the university, most of the states it is available at the moment, including the Northern Territory, Western Australia, South Australia, New South Wales, and so on, for a 190 as well as for a 491. So there's quite a lot of options once you finish your studies. So basically, once you finish your studies, you get into the skills assessment. If you have done a 4 years of study in Australia at the higher level, at the higher degree level, then you don't need any English test to be covered to get the skills assessment. You can just apply on the basis of 4 years of study. If you have only studied the 2 years of teaching degree, then you need to sit for an English. Once you have got a skills assessment, because primary and early childhood, they both are in the long-term list, you can apply for a 189, 190 and a 491 visa. However, if you have done your studies and you wanted to apply for 190, then all the 3 streams are eligible for these ones. This is about the early childhood. Now the secondary school teacher, I'm sharing the screen where it shows that this is also available in most of the states for the state nomination program. Because this is not in a long-term list, the secondary school teacher, so if you have studied that one, you are ineligible to apply for a 189 visa, but the 190 and the 491, you are eligible to apply for that. Primary school teacher, that's again in a long-term list as well. So eligible for 189, 190 and 491, and still available in lots of states also. I would be also sharing with you what are the different states requirements to be eligible once we complete those ones. So firstly, I'll talk about the different state ones, the ACT. ACT requirement is that you must have live and work in ACT for 6 months, and you must be working for 6 months for a full-time work for 190 visa for minimum 35 hours per week. Because, and this is for 190. If you are considering yourself for a 491 criteria, then you must be living and working in ACT for 3 months, and 20 hours part-time work is fine, not in the nominated occupation. So let's say that I have got my skills assessment as teachers, and in my current state, I'm unable to get any state nomination. You can move to ACT. You live and work there for 3 months in any occupation, and you will be eligible for 491. Or you live and work in ACT for 6 months for full time. As a teacher, you work there, then you will be eligible for 190 visa. In saying that, ACT also has got the additional requirement of meeting the points in the matrix also. That's the ACT own point test that you need to meet. And the invitation points for those ones keep varying on. Then we have got the New South Wales criteria also with us. So in New South Wales, we have got a 190 and 491. In both the occupation list, teachers are available. Okay. And for 190, the requirement is that you must be living in New South Wales for 3 months. And if you are working, you must be working in New South Wales for 3 months. Otherwise, you must be living. So there's no typical requirement that for how long you have been working. Let's say that in New South Wales, you move and you have already got a employment as a teacher, then you are eligible to apply. Otherwise, if you are not working, you have just moved and you are living in New South Wales, again, you are eligible to apply. But the 190 occupations we have seen, they are just on the basis of the merits. So there is quite a big competition for the 190, where the people have been living and working from last 1 year and still waiting. So we would say that for New South Wales, although their requirement is only that you must be living there for the last 3 months, but it will be quite competitive, and you need to be high on the score points to be invited for New South Wales 190. 491, there are different regions in New South Wales and has got 3 streams available for the 491 state nomination. Stream 1, where you have been living and working in a regional area for 12 months. Stream 2, where you have studied in a regional area of New South Wales in last 2 years, 24 months when you are applying. And the stream 3, you are living anywhere in Australia. For the stream 3, you do not need to be necessarily be in New South Wales to be eligible. You could be living anywhere in Australia. To apply for any state nomination, it is must to have a skills assessment. These requirements I'm only discussing once you have got your skills assessment, then what is your further requirement to be invited for a 189, 190 or a 491. Because as it just says living anywhere in Australia doesn't mean that if I don't have a skills assessment, I would still be eligible. Skills assessment is a mandatory requirement to apply for any state nomination or even apply for any expression of interest. The primary teacher, secondary teacher, or early childhood, they are open in different regions of New South Wales. They are called the RDAs, which is the Regional Development Authorities. And they are open in Central West, Far West, Hunter, Orana, Riverina, Southern Inland, and Sydney. The requirements of all of these regions is the same, where in the stream 1, you have been living and working in that region for 12 months. In the stream 2, you have studied in any of these regions in last 24 months. And in the stream 3, let's say, for example, you are living but you are working but not for the 12 months, then you will be eligible under the stream 3. New South Wales has said that they will be giving the first preference to the applicants from the stream 1. Then we talk about the Northern Territory. Northern Territory has also got the criteria for 190 and a 491. For 190, you must have at least studied in NT for 2 years and has been living in NT for 6 months even after the completion of the course. And you could demonstrate your genuine and sustained efforts to obtain employment. There's no mandatory requirement that you have to show that you have started working or gained employment as a teacher in New South Wales. For NT graduates for a 491 visa who are unable, so let's say that I have studied in Northern Territory for 2 years, but I'm currently not living in NT, or for some reason my visa is expiring and unable to live in NT for the next 6 months, you will be given the option for a 491 visa. For other NT requirements is for 190, if you have not studied in NT, then you must have been living in NT for 2 years with the 2 years full-time employment in the nominated occupation. Good for the 457, 482 holders, where they have worked with their nominated employer or for the full time, then they are eligible for a 190 visa. For the 491, if you have not studied, then the other NT requirement is that if you were living in NT before 1st of July 2020, then 6 months of working and 6 months of residing in NT is the requirement. If you have moved to NT after 1st of July 2020, then the requirement is that you must have lived in NT for 12 months and have worked 6 months full-time in your nominated occupation, at least for 6 months. So these are the Northern Territory requirements. Queensland, then that's currently processing only the priority occupation list, and we have just received the requirement from this Queensland, which they've just recently updated a couple of minutes ago, which is anticipated that they will open the program in October, as they are undertaking consultation with the Queensland government to determine the requirements for the migration purposes for this financial year. So they're still working for other than the priority occupations list also to see where they can fit in with the state migration program. Now we talk about South Australia. They have just recently changed the whole criteria of their skilled migration program, and they have been talking about for the graduates who have studied in South Australia or the people who are working in South Australia. One of this criteria is needed to be met. If you're just living in South Australia but not working in the nominated occupation or have not studied, then you are not eligible. For 190, South Australia graduate pathway is that you must have studied at least for 1 year, which is the 50% of the course you must have done, lived in SA for 1 year, and you are whether working or not, that's not the requirement. Then the currently working pathway is for the one where we have not studied in South Australia, but you have got 12 months of an employment in the Greater Adelaide or 6 months of employment in the outer regional South Australia. So you need to be working for 12 months in Adelaide or 6 months in the regional area. Similar criteria we have got for a 491, where we have studied for at least for 1 year, which is below the level of the bachelor's if we have studied. And then for the working pathway, it is the 6 months in the regional area. If you have been working, then you are eligible for the South Australia. We have got availability in Tasmania also, as per the recent graduates of Tasmania, where you have studied in Tasmania for 2 years, or the graduate for a 491, where you have studied for 1 year. So if you have studied in Tasmania and your 1 year course is finished. So this is not something that I have been enrolled for 2 years of a course and I have just studied for 1 year and I would be eligible. Your course must be completed also. If it's a bachelor's degree for 3 years, right after completion of 2 years of bachelor's, you are not eligible. Your course must be completed to be eligible to meet the requirements of those ones. Then we have got a category 2, which is working in Tasmania, which is the 6 months of a full-time work in your nominated occupation. And another one is 6 months of a non-nominated occupation. If you're working, you are eligible for Tasmania also. In Western Australia, there are the different pathways that's available. One is the graduate pathway, where you must have studied in WA and have got a 6 months of a part-time employment or in this one. The primary and the early childhood teachers are available, but not the secondary for Western Australia. There's another pathway for the ones which are the general stream, where you have not worked in WA, you have not studied in WA, but you have got the job offer from there. You need to apply for your expression of interest, and if invited, need to show that you have got a 12 months of a job offer in your nominated occupation under the general stream. Under the graduate stream, 6 months of a job offer is required. Now, let's say that we have got our state nomination and we are putting our expression of interest. Now, in an expression of interest, it is mandatory to score at least minimum 65 points, including 5 points for a 190 or 15 points for a 491 visa through the state only. Then the points are being given on in the point system for the different factors like your age, your highest qualification obtained, whether that qualification was obtained in Australia or not. If it was in Australia, whether it was a regional area or not. Do you have any overseas experience? Do you have any Australian experience on your English and your spouse? These are the different factors with the ranges of different points that you can attain to be eligible to apply for 190, 491 or a 189 visa. In the points test, if you're not meeting the minimum 65 points, then you are not eligible to even lodge your skills assessment. To lodge your expression of interest. Another mandatory requirement is to have skills assessment, and the minimum English requirement is 6 each. If you have not got a 6 each, but you still have managed to make 70 points, 80 points in your expression of interest, you will not be eligible. Your EOI is not going to go ahead. It is mandatory. The states which are done on the basis of expression of interest, they do not ask you to put an application. And the states which are asking you to do an EOI, they will just ask you to put EOI and then they will be inviting you. So different states have got a different criteria where it is on the basis of an application or on the basis of an invitation. You need to figure that out. If your state is saying that lodge an expression of interest, then you have to wait for the state to invite you and pick you from the system. If the state state nomination criteria says that you apply on the date you feel that you are meeting the eligibility, like a 6 months of a work requirement or 2 years of a study, then on the basis of an application, you apply for a state nomination and you hear from the state. So this was from me about all the requirements for the state nomination and the skills assessment requirement, which you need for the permanent residency, to apply for the permanent residency in Australia.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can ask us.
I think, Kiran, the information was good enough that
I think
I have many questions about it.
Pretty much elaborative we have discussed.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all from Aussizz Group, and thank you everybody for listening about the requirements for the migration pathway. And they're on to Kiran now.
Yeah, thank you, Preeti. Thank you for such a lovely information and elaborative one. So guys, if you have any questions, you can ask us. And then if later on as well, if you have any queries regarding admission or for skill assessment, you can contact us. So I think, Preeti, it's all good.
All good about it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you soon. Bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.